Oh, look who finally showed up. Yeah, you, the one scrolling at 3 a.m. looking for something real, looking for proof you're not losing your mind, looking for confirmation that what you're feeling isn't crazy. So buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you is going to flip your assumptions about who's actually in your corner. While you've been convinced you're alone, unseen, and uncared for, there's been someone moving for you the whole time. Silent, sharp, and relentless. Like a shadow carrying both a switchblade and a prayer. This presence has been operating on frequencies you can't detect, handling your problems before you even recognize them. Loving you so fiercely and so dangerously that they've been dismantling your enemies piece by piece without you ever noticing. And that's the thing about real protection. It doesn't announce itself, it doesn't need applause, it doesn't brag online. It just moves, and the bodies drop. Not literal bodies. I'm talking about the collapse of people's confidence, their plans, their ability to sleep, their peace of mind. Those bodies. I know it sounds insane, like some conspiracy pitch or cult recruitment speech, but stay with me because you felt it. That sudden shift in energy when someone gunning for you backed off. That moment when a hater got hit with their own crisis. That strange turn when someone plotting against you suddenly lost their footing, their confidence, their power. You called it coincidence, karma, or luck. It wasn't. It was someone moving chess pieces on a board you can't see. Someone who decided that anyone who tries to hurt you, undermine you, or dim your light is going to have a very, very bad time. And they've been following through on that promise daily, while you were too busy surviving, healing, and becoming who you're meant to be. Meanwhile, they've been clearing the path ahead of you like a spiritual snowplow, removing obstacles you'll never even know existed. Let me paint the picture, because this is where it gets wild. That person whispering behind your back, spreading lies, poisoning rooms before you walked into them? Yeah, them. Notice how their own secrets started leaking out? How people began seeing through their mask? How the same tactics they used against you snapped back and caught them in the throat? You thought that was justice or cosmic balance, but no, that was intervention. That was someone who loves you, pulling strings you can't see, pressing buttons you don't have access to, making calls in dimensions you can't even pronounce. Because here's the truth, when someone truly loves you, not the shallow performative Instagram version, but that ancient, soul-level, logic-defying kind of love that crosses into spiritual warfare. They don't watch you suffer. They don't just offer thoughts and prayers. They become the storm. They become the reckoning, the force your enemies have nightmares about. And they do it without you asking, without you knowing, without ever needing recognition. You want to know why that toxic person suddenly stopped obsessing over tormenting you? It wasn't boredom. It was because someone made it very clear that every action triggers a reaction, and the reaction heading their way was going to feel biblical. You want to know why an opportunity that seemed impossible suddenly cracked open like it was always meant for you? That wasn't luck. That was someone moving invisible mountains, tearing down barriers you didn't even know were blocking you, building pathways that shouldn't logically exist. And you want to know why you're still standing when by all logic you should have collapsed. It's because someone has been holding you upright in ways that defy physics, logic, and the laws of nature. They act because they can't not act, because their love for you is too fierce, too consuming, too overwhelming to let them sit still while you suffer. So they move, and when they move hard and without mercy. And the people who tried to break you, they suddenly find themselves cracking instead. They can never fully explain it. They just feel the shift. One day you were the target, and the next day they were. Here's where it gets deeper. This protector, this quiet warrior clearing your path, isn't doing it because they think you're fragile or incapable. They're doing it because they see your potential, they see your destiny, they see the version of you you're growing into, and they refuse to let anyone interfere with that evolution. You're shedding old versions of yourself, upgrading, ascending, too busy leveling up to waste energy battling emotional mosquitoes. So they take care of it. They swat the distractions, clear the noise, analyze the shadows, and neutralize every threat before you ever step into the room. That is love, that is protection. That is loyalty in its rawest form. It's not displayed in greeting cards or cute quotes. It shows up in the way your enemies suddenly lose confidence, lose control, lose sleep, lose their grip on whatever power they thought they had. And once you notice the pattern, you can't unsee it. Think back over the last year, the last 2, the last 5. How many situations that should have destroyed you just dissolved? How many people coming for you suddenly got hit with their own chaos? How many impossible scenarios worked themselves out in ways you still can't explain? You credited resilience, you credited luck, you credited strength. And sure, you are strong, you are resilient. But there's been a force multiplier behind the scenes, a cosmic backup system running interference while you kept moving forward. They don't want applause, they don't need acknowledgement, they just need you to reach the destination meant for you, and they will burn down entire forests to clear the path. You'll never smell the smoke because by the time you arrive, the ashes are gone, the debris cleared, and all you see is an open road. Now think about that person who betrayed you, who smiled at you while sharpening the knife, who played loyal while plotting behind your back. Yeah, them. What happened to them, really? Not the version you brushed aside, not the polite explanation you told yourself to avoid sounding petty. I'm talking about the actual fallout after they crossed you. Because if you sit with it for more than 5 seconds, you'll notice that their life didn't just stagnate, it rotted from the inside out. Things didn't merely go downhill, they unraveled with a level of precision that almost looked scripted. Their relationships fractured. The trust people had in them evaporated. Their opportunities dried up like a riverbed in the sun. Their reputation took hits that knocked the breath out of whatever facade they'd built. Their mental stability spiraled, their confidence cracked, and suddenly the mask they wore so proudly began slipping for everyone to see. And you told yourself it was karma. You told yourself the universe was simply balancing the scales. But deep down, a part of you knew it wasn't random. It wasn't slow, passive, or hands-off. It was sharp. It was intentional. Because karma may take its time, but love, real, fierce, protective love, is immediate. And when someone loves you with the kind of intensity your unseen guardian does, karma doesn't mosey in like a gentle lesson. It gets weaponized. It becomes a tactical strike. It hits with precision, with speed, with a kind of cosmic accuracy your enemies never saw coming. They weren't unlucky. They were outmatched. And this force in your life isn't only dealing with enemies. That would be too simple. They're also removing obstacles, nudging fate and shifting entire timelines to align with your growth. Think about the doors that were slammed in your face for months, maybe years, and then suddenly out of nowhere they swung open like they had been waiting for you all along. Think about the situations that were impossible, the obstacles that were too solid, the moments that should have crushed you, but instead, they dissolved. Resources appeared when you should have run out. Money, connections, support, solutions. They showed up at moments that were too perfect to be coincidence. You thought you were lucky. You thought you were just working harder. But someone has been operating behind the curtain, making moves you didn't initiate, knocking on doors you never knew existed, arranging opportunities that weren't even real options until they made them real. And they do it because your success isn't a maybe for them. It's a mission. Your happiness isn't a hope, it's an obsession. They tend that mission like a sacred temple every single day, with actions you will never witness, with sacrifices you will never hear about, with battles fought in dimensions you don't have the clearance to enter. And the wildest part? Your enemies don't even realize who they're fighting. They think they're fighting you. They're not. They're swinging at shadows. They only feel the consequences, the sudden anxiety, the unexpected setbacks, the weird string of failures that hit them like a domino collapse. They don't see the hand guiding that chain reaction. They just know they can't breathe, can't think straight, can't move against you without something blowing up in their face, because here's the truth. Every single time someone plots against you, every time someone wishes you harm, even every time someone casually thinks they can dim your light to brighten theirs, the universe sends an immediate response, not later, not someday, immediately. Something shifts. The energy recalibrates. The scales snap back into balance. And your silent protector is the one initiating it. They're the one whispering, "Not this one." They're the one activating defenses you never saw, making cosmic phone calls, pulling strings attached to people you'll never meet, energies you'll never understand, and opportunities you would have never accessed alone. And while your enemy thinks they're taking clean shots at you, they suddenly find themselves sinking, slowly at first, then rapidly, into quicksand. Plans fall apart. Conversations that once worked in their favor turn against them. People stop listening. Doors start closing. They get lost in a maze of their own making, scrambling in panic, wondering why everything they touch is crumbling. And the answer is brutally simple. They touched someone protected, someone covered, someone loved so intensely that the universe itself bends around them like armor. You want proof? Look at yourself. Right now. Not the sanitized, polite summary you give people. Really look. How are you still standing after everything you've survived? How are you still sane after the betrayals, heartbreaks, losses, disappointments, nights spent breaking apart quietly where no one could see? You've been through things that would have turned other people into dust. Yet here you are, aware, awake, growing, healing, rebuilding. That's not normal, that's not typical, that's not something you just push through. Your strength is real. Your resilience is real. But it's not the whole story. You've never been in this alone. There's been someone in your corner the whole time, someone in the shadows, in the forgotten spaces, in the spiritual trenches, catching you when you fell, lifting you when you felt hollow, breathing life back into you when you didn't want to keep going. And they don't do it because they're obligated to. They don't do it because they pity you. They do it because loving you isn't optional. It's instinct. It's encoded into their soul. It's the reason they exist. And anyone who threatens that connection becomes public enemy number one in a war they don't even know they've stepped into. And here's the part almost no one understands. Real love, real protection, doesn't look like the glossy fantasy in movies. It's not gentle. It's not tidy. It's not soft focus lighting and poetic speeches. Real love is primal. It's ancient. It's territorial. It's the kind of devotion that isn't content with watching you suffer. It intervenes, it disrupts, it destroys whatever threatens you. It clears paths with fire and force. It moves mountains, but it also topples them onto the people who tried to bury you. It doesn't always comfort you. Sometimes it fights for you. Sometimes it wages war on your behalf. Sometimes it tears down what you thought you needed to make room for what you actually deserve. And that kind of protection, that relentless, unyielding devotion, is the reason you're still here, still whole, still becoming something larger than anything you've been through. And most people will never understand that kind of love because they've never experienced it. But you have. And that's why nothing and no one has been able to take you out. Real protection isn't the Hollywood fantasy people think it is. It doesn't look like someone leaping in front of a bullet in dramatic slow motion. There's no swelling soundtrack, no spotlight, no heroic monologue. It doesn't look like dramatic confrontations or grand public declarations of loyalty. Real protection is subtle. It's quiet. It's almost invisible. So invisible that from the outside it looks like nothing is happening at all. It looks like silence. It looks like distance. It looks like stillness, so calm you may even interpret it as a void. But underneath that quiet, underneath that deceptively peaceful surface, there is a war raging. Not a metaphorical war. A tactical, ruthless, relentless war. One you never see. One you're never asked to participate in. one you only feel the results of. While you're living your day-to-day life, your enemies are losing battles they don't even realize they signed up for. They walk around confused, shaken, unsteady on ground that used to feel solid, because this person who loves you, the silent guardian, the one operating in your blind spots, doesn't engage in human theatrics. They don't show up with noise and threats. They operate in the invisible. They move in the undetectable. They strike like a ghost. No evidence, no traces, no fingerprints, just undeniable impact. All that's left behind is fallout. Outcomes. Your enemies suddenly find themselves trapped in situations they can't explain. Plans they were certain would succeed collapse for no logical reason. Opportunities they relied on slip through their fingers like water. They watch their stability crumble, their confidence evaporate, their carefully curated strategies turn into ash. And because they don't understand the battlefield they've wandered into, they spiral. They lose sleep. They start obsessing, replaying every step, desperately trying to figure out what went wrong. They think it's bad luck. They think it's coincidence. They think they miscalculated. But the truth, they're trying to use human logic to make sense of spiritual warfare. They're hunting for physical explanations for cosmic intervention. They are, quite literally, out of their depth. Let me break down how this really works, because it's more intricate, more ruthless, and more calculated than people realize. When someone comes for you, when they plot, when they plan, when they speak your name with malicious intent, the one who loves you doesn't storm in like a hero in a cheap action film. They don't confront your enemy face to face. They don't argue. They don't warn. They don't announce their presence at all. They observe. They assess. They allow the enemy to reveal themselves fully. And when the timing is perfect, when the moment is ripe, when the move will have maximum impact, they strike. And the strike is always flawless, always precise, always devastating. Sometimes it's a whisper dropped into the right ear that changes everything. Sometimes it's a truth rising to the surface at exactly the moment your enemy is most vulnerable. Sometimes it's an opportunity they were counting on disappearing into thin air. Sometimes a relationship they depended on fractures, exposing their weaknesses. Sometimes their confidence breaks. Their clarity turns into confusion. Their certainty dissolves, and suddenly they can't tell left from right. Whatever form it takes, it ends the threat. It neutralizes the danger before it reaches you. It clears the path you didn't even know was blocked. And the most incredible part? You never see any of it. You walk through your life feeling like you somehow dodged yet another unseen bullet. Another storm passed without touching you. Another disaster evaporated before reaching your doorstep. You assume you got lucky. You assume you powered through. You assume life simply worked out. But you didn't do it alone. You had a guardian, a protector, someone whose love for you is so fierce, so instinctive, so unshakable, that the moment someone threatens you, that person becomes their mission. Your enemies become their enemies. Your battles become their battlefield. And they do this without fanfare, without recognition, without needing you to know a single detail. And here's what makes this even more powerful. They don't do it for gratitude. They don't do it so you'll fall at their feet or worship them or tell them how much they mean to you. They don't want emotional payment. They don't want you indebted to them. They don't even want you to know they exist if staying invisible keeps you safer. They don't do any of this for ego. They do it because your well-being is their purpose. Seeing you safe is their peace. Watching you grow is their reward. Watching you win is their satisfaction. Protecting you is as instinctive to them as breathing is to you. They move in silence because silence is safer. They operate in shadow because shadow is strategic. They work behind the scenes because behind the scenes is where power actually lives. And while they clear the battlefield, you collect the victories. You get the progress. You get the opportunities, the blessings, the breakthroughs. You get the life that should have been derailed multiple times but wasn't, because someone else was redirecting the chaos before it ever found you. You get the life, they take the war, and they're perfectly fine with that. Because they were never fighting for themselves, they were fighting for you. They're doing all of this for you, and that is the purest, rarest, most unfiltered form of love that exists. A kind of love that requires no spotlight, no applause, no acknowledgement, no validation. A love that doesn't need to be witnessed to be real. A love that doesn't demand gratitude or recognition, because its only purpose is your safety, your growth, your peace, and your evolution into the person you were always meant to become. This love operates silently, deliberately, and without hesitation, stepping in only when necessary, shielding you from dangers you never saw approaching, dismantling threats you never realized were forming, and clearing paths you didn't even know were blocked. Anyone who attempts to interfere with that transformation, anyone who tries to stunt your growth, dim your light, sabotage your progress, or poison your future instantly becomes a problem that gets handled quietly, efficiently, and, if needed, permanently, without noise or spectacle. What's wild is that every single person who has ever tried to break you, betray you, or undermine you is sitting somewhere right now wrestling with confusion, desperately trying to understand why their once promising life began falling apart. Why doors that used to open for them suddenly slammed shut. Why their momentum died, why opportunities vanished. Why their relationships cracked. Why their confidence evaporated. And why nothing they touch seems to go right anymore. They tell themselves stories, create excuses, blame circumstances, blame people, blame timing. But deep down in those quiet 2 a.m. moments when honesty creeps in, they know something snapped the moment they crossed you. Some of them are even haunted enough to whisper your name when they're alone, wondering if you cursed them, wondering if you're more powerful than they ever realized, wondering if you somehow sent something after them. But the truth is almost ironic. You didn't curse anyone. You didn't call for revenge. You didn't even think about them long enough to cause spiritual damage because you were too busy trying to keep your own mind intact, too busy healing wounds they never saw, too busy rebuilding yourself from ashes, too busy growing into someone stronger. While you were focused on survival and self-restoration, someone else was paying attention. Someone else was watching every intention directed at you, every scheme, every insult, every betrayal. Someone else was making sure that the people who tried to harm you understood, in ways they could never trace back, that actions have consequences. And the consequence of hurting you is a slow, systematic, almost artistic dismantling of everything they thought was stable, every advantage they thought they held, every false sense of superiority they relied on, every illusion of power they clung to. That's what people fail to understand about real protection. It doesn't show up screaming. It doesn't grandstand. It doesn't roar for attention. It shows up as sudden chaos in your enemy's life, the inability to focus, the string of mistakes that cost them everything, the sudden loss of support from people they counted on, the isolation that creeps in, the vulnerability they can't shake, the sense that something is watching them even though they can't see anything. They can't prove what's happening, they can't explain the shift. But they feel it. They feel the pressure tightening around them, the invisible hand weighing on their chest, the sense of judgment, of being measured and found lacking. And that pressure, that unshakable heaviness that stalks them, is the very love that surrounds you, the protection that covers you like armor, the unseen force that ensures anyone who attempts to harm you ends up harming themselves instead, because when someone like you is protected at that level, the universe itself becomes your shield. It happens every single time without fail, without hesitation, without a moment of doubt, and absolutely without mercy. Because the one who loves you on that level doesn't believe in offering second chances to people who threaten your safety, doesn't believe in forgiveness when it comes to those who deliberately try to hurt you, and doesn't believe in sparing anyone who attempts to derail your purpose, block your blessings, or interfere with the destiny that was written for you long before you even understood how powerful you are. And naturally, that leads you to the question you can't ignore anymore. Who is this person? Who is this guardian moving through your life like an unseen shield? Who is this silent warrior fighting your battles when you're asleep, when you're unaware, when you're too overwhelmed or exhausted to even recognize what's happening behind the scenes? And here's where things get far more interesting than you expect, because the answer isn't simple, predictable, or straightforward. It's not about the people you see, the people who comment on your posts, the ones who call themselves friends but disappear the moment life gets inconvenient. It's not about the ones who perform loyalty in public, but fail to show up when it truly matters. Real protection isn't loud. Real love doesn't need validation. Real loyalty doesn't need an audience or a spotlight or an Instagram reel to prove its existence. It moves quietly. It moves deliberately. It moves with intention, purpose, and an unwavering consistency that most people in your life have never shown you. And when you slow down long enough to observe the patterns, when you actually look at the timing of your life, at the miraculous escapes, at the sudden redirections, at the way danger has repeatedly missed you by inches, you begin to see what you overlooked. You begin to realize that it wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It wasn't random fortune smiling on you. You'll start to feel it in your chest, like a presence that has always been there, steady and patient and unshakable. You'll feel the truth settling into your bones that someone has been standing behind you this whole time, holding the line when everyone else walked away, fighting for you when you didn't even know you needed defending, believing in your potential when people you trusted were doubting, dismissing, or underestimating you. You'll realize that while some people claim to be in your corner, this force has actually acted on your behalf with more power, precision, and love than most humans are even capable of offering. And what makes this even more powerful, more humbling, more astonishing is that they don't do it for your praise. They don't do it for recognition. They don't do it for credit or validation or emotional payment. They don't even require your awareness. Their loyalty is so deep, so intrinsic, so woven into the fabric of who they are that protecting you is not a choice. It's a reflex, a calling, an instinct as natural to them as breathing is to you. They act without needing thanks. They intervene without needing acknowledgement. They fight without needing applause. And when you finally understand that this protector has been with you every step of the way, through the betrayals, through the heartbreaks, through the losses, through every moment where you should have fallen apart but somehow didn't, you'll realize just how guarded you've been all along. You'll recognize that your survival wasn't accidental. Your resilience wasn't the whole story. Your progress wasn't solely your doing. There's been someone, something, some force, silent, relentless, unwavering, fighting battles you never saw, preventing disasters you didn't detect, shielding you from enemies you didn't notice, clearing paths before you even took your first step. And the moment you see that truth clearly, your entire understanding of loyalty, protection, and love will change forever. Once you truly recognize it, once the realization settles into your mind, your breath, your bones, that you are not alone, that you have never walked a single mile of your life alone, that there has been a force, a presence, a fierce and loyal love operating on your behalf in moments where you didn't even know you were in danger, everything inside you begins to shift. It's not a small shift, not a fleeting thought, not a brief emotional spark. It's a deep, structural, life-resetting transformation. It changes the way your soul sits inside your skin. You start to notice your posture rising, your chin lifting, your decisions becoming cleaner, your confidence stabilizing in ways you didn't know were possible. You're suddenly aware of your own worth in a way that makes your past self seem almost unrecognizable. You move differently, not with arrogance, but with an unshakable groundedness. You speak with a strength that doesn't need volume to be heard. You make choices with clarity because doubt doesn't cling to you the way it used to. You begin carrying yourself like someone who knows they are not wandering through life unguarded, unsupported, or unclaimed. You're not just protected, you're chosen. Not randomly chosen, but deliberately selected, deliberately covered, deliberately guided. You're not just shielded, you're anointed, marked with a kind of spiritual authority that other people can sense even if they can't explain it. You're not merely lucky. You're appointed, positioned with intention by forces moving in realms you can't see. And once that recognition becomes part of you, your entire presence changes. You walk into rooms like someone who belongs there. You approach your goals without flinching. You respond to pressure without bending. You stop shrinking yourself to make other people feel comfortable. You stop apologizing for taking up space you were born to occupy. You stop begging for acceptance from people who lack the capacity to understand your calling. You stop internalizing the doubts that others projected onto you. Your internal wiring shifts because you finally understand you're not navigating the world alone. You have backup that isn't just emotional but spiritual, energetic, cosmic. You have a presence behind you that moves faster than threats, sees farther than enemies, and intervenes long before danger even enters your awareness. And that awareness, that certainty, that unbreakable sense of protection makes you into something people don't know how to deal with. It makes you bold, it makes you courageous, it makes you incredibly difficult to intimidate. You become the kind of person who steps into storms with steady eyes, who walks through fire without flinching, who faces obstacles that crumble before they can even reach you. People start wondering why you're so calm in chaos, why you're so centered in conflict, why you're so hard to shake, why things that destroy other people don't even leave a dent on you. And the truth is simple. You know you're not fighting alone. You know the universe itself bends around you. You know you have a force clearing the path, absorbing the arrows, blocking the blows, rerouting every attack designed to break you. And now comes the part people rarely understand. This level of protection doesn't weaken you. It doesn't make you soft. It doesn't make you dependent. It doesn't diminish your strength or your capacity to fight your own battles. In fact, it does the opposite. It amplifies your strength. It sharpens your instincts. It frees your mind from unnecessary fear so you can think clearly, act decisively, and grow without constantly looking over your shoulder. It allows you to focus on your purpose instead of wasting energy fighting irrelevant, small-minded people whose only power came from distraction. It removes the noise from your path so you can walk with intention. It eliminates the interference so your energy isn't drained by pointless conflict. It allows you to evolve faster because you're not stuck wrestling with obstacles that were never meant to be part of your journey in the first place. Your protector doesn't fight instead of you. They fight around you, with you, ahead of you, and behind you. They fortify your steps so that when you fight, your blows land with precision. They remove the threats that aren't worthy of your time so you can focus on the challenges that actually shape your destiny. They handle the darkness lurking behind you so you can face forward without hesitation. They support you in ways you couldn't support yourself because their vantage point is higher, wider, older, and wiser than yours. And once you fully internalize that truth, you begin to move with a level of certainty that is transformational. You become someone who no longer doubts their path, someone who no longer questions their worth, someone who no longer fears what's ahead, because you finally understand that what surrounds you is far stronger than anything that could ever come against you. You start living with a kind of spiritual authority, a kind of quiet power, a kind of inner fire that cannot be extinguished because it didn't come from other people. It came from protection you didn't even know was yours. And from that point on, you no longer walk like someone hoping everything will work out. You walk like someone who knows the outcome is already secured. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the Enlightened Wisdom.